Hello everyone, myself Forum Makwana, Assistant Professor of EC Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to start the subject that is satellite communication. In this subject, we will start from chapter number 1, that is Introduction to Satellite Communication. In this chapter, we will study a definition of satellite, history and parts of satellite, how it works, the operating frequency of satellite, advantages and disadvantages of satellite, and the orbits. First of all, what do you mean by satellite? Satellite is an artificial body which is placed in orbit round the earth, as like a moon is moving around the earth. That means it is a satellite of earth. Basically, a satellite which is placed in a space is used for telecommunication, radio, television signals and other purpose. Most of the satellite have a transponder, and this satellite can be broadly classified in two categories. One is passive satellite, second one is active satellite. Passive satellite is nothing but a reflector. That means it will receive the signal from the earth station on the ground, and it simply reflect back that signal to the receiving earth station. And active satellite means it receives a signal from transmitting earth station, it will amplify it and retransmit back to the receiving earth station. So that active satellite is further classified as in two category. First one is non-geo satellite, that is a geo stands for geostationary orbit, and second one is geo satellite. The non-geo and geo satellite will be discussed later on the next slide. Now we are focusing on the history of satellite. The first artificial satellite, that is Sputnik 1, which was launched by Russia in 1957, but the first active satellite was launched in 1962, that name as a Telsat. But by India, the first satellite was launched as Aryabhatta in 1975. This is Aryabhatta satellite, this is a Sputnik 1. Actually, India has launched a 118 satellite since 1975. But in February 2017, the ISRO has created a new record by launching a 104 satellite in one go. Out of this 104 satellite, only 3 of these were of Indian satellite. Now, this diagram shows the different parts of satellite. Over here you can see this is the antenna which is used for a communication. Communication in terms of sending and receiving of signal. These two are a solar panel which provides energy or a power supply to the circuitry of satellite, which it can get from a sun. Third portion, that is a rocket motor. It is actually used to correct the position of satellite in specific orbit, and also it is used to maintain the attitude of satellite. Inside this satellite, it will contain fuel tanks, batteries, and onboard processor. Now, how a satellite will work? From this diagram you can see that this is our Earth, this is a transmitting Earth station, this is a receiving Earth station, and this is our satellite. So the signal which is transmitting from a transmitting Earth station to the satellite is called uplink signal, and the signal which is transmitted by satellite to the receiving Earth station is called a downlink signal. This uplink and downlink, both the signals are having a specific frequency range in terms of gigahertz. Both the signals should have a different frequency to avoid interference. As we know, the uplink frequency is higher than the downlink frequency for satellite communication. Now, on which frequency a satellite will operate? There are total 7 microwave bands are available, starting from L band, then S band, C band, X band, Ku band, K band, and Ka band. This band has a specific frequency range in terms of gigahertz. Specifically, L band has a 1 to 2 gigahertz, S band has 2 to 4 gigahertz, C band has a 4 to 8, X band has a 8 to 12, Ku has 12 to 18. Likewise, a Ka band has a 28 to 40 gigahertz. But for the satellite communication, we are using these two microwave band, C band and Ku band. Now we are focusing on the advantages of satellite communication. As we know, in terrestrial communication, we are only able to transmit the signal at a point-to-point terminology. But with the help of satellite communication, we are able to transmit a signal in broadcast way. Like it is also known as a point-to-multipoint communication, because a satellite provides a wider geographical area coverage. This is the first advantage. Second advantage is a circuit for satellite can be installed rapidly, as a satellite is positioning specifically in a space, then Earth station on the ground can be installed and communication may be established within some day or within some hours. The third advantage is during a critical condition, each Earth station may be removed quickly from a location and it can be reinstalled somewhere else. The fourth is a mobile communication can be easily achieved by a satellite communication because of its flexibility. And the last but not least, the most important advantage is it overcomes the disadvantage of fiber optic communication, because in fiber optic communication, a sending and the receiving information is dependent on the distance. But with the help of satellite communication, the sending and receiving information is independent of the distance. So it provides a quality of transmitted signal. So these are the advantages of satellite communication. Now we are focusing on the disadvantages of satellite communication. As we know, a satellite provides a wider geographical area coverage. So approximately the terrestrial transmitter and receiver has a distance of 75,000 km. So we can say there is a delay of 1/4 second between a transmission and reception of signal. Also, we know the velocity of electromagnetic wave is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. So this delay between transmission and the reception of signal will reduce the efficiency of satellite in data transmission, right? So these are the advantages and disadvantages of satellite communication. Now we are focusing on the orbits. From this diagram you can see that orbit is nothing but a path around which your satellite goes around the earth. You can see from this diagram that yellow dots over here are shown is the orbit, right? Basically there are total 4 types of orbit based on the distance between a surface of earth to the specific orbit. Starting from the first one, that is LEO, MEO, GEO and HEO. LEO stands for low earth orbit, MEO stands for medium earth orbit, GEO stands for geostationary orbit, and the fourth one, that is HEO, is called highly elliptical orbit. In the next slide we will study briefly different types of orbit. From this diagram you can see that this is our earth. The nearest orbit to the earth is LEO. As you can see, the distance between the surface of earth to the LEO is approximately equal to 100 to 1500 kilometer. Now second one, that is MEO, which is called the medium earth orbit. So the distance between surface of earth to the medium earth orbit is 5000 to 10,000 kilometer. Third one, that is geostationary orbit, which lies on the equatorial plane of earth, that is having a distance from the surface of earth is ideally 36,000 kilometer. The last one, that is a highly elliptical orbit. As you can see that the shape of the orbit is ellipse and the one point is nearer to the earth and the other points are far from the earth. So this is called highly elliptical orbit. So this is a brief introduction of different types of orbit based on the distance from the surface of earth. Now we are focusing on the application of satellite which was launched in specific orbit. First, I am focusing on LEO. The use of satellite which is placed in LEO is for communication and the remote sensing application. Second one, that is medium earth orbit. It commonly used for the navigational purpose. It also include a US GPS. Third one, that is geosynchronous orbit and geostationary orbit. As a GEO is kind of GSO. As such, I have told you earlier that GEO lies on the equatorial plane of earth. So as we can see from the ground's perspective, the GEO satellite appears at a fixed position in the sky. So basically the application of GSO and GEO are used for Earth observation and the telecommunication purpose. And the last one, that is highly elliptical orbit, and HEO is one with nearer to the Earth, and the second end is having a more distance from the Earth. So the satellite launch in this HEO are basically used for the communication as well as a remote sensing application. So these are the types of orbit and the application of satellite which is going to be launched into the specific orbit. So over here, chapter number 1, that is a basic introduction of satellite communication, is finished. Thank you.